We've had a couple of, I guess, middling upgrade cycles. Why do you think that the AI technology incorporated here, we heard about it about a month ago,
Sure.
Is actually going to move the needle?
Sure. So if we look back in time, there has been no other time in history that Apple's installed base has been as large, that replacement cycles have been as long, and where Apple has forced you to upgrade your phone to get such a new and kind of pervasive technology at the same time. So you put all three of those together and you say there's a clear catalyst and only 8% of iPhones and iPads can actually run Apple Intelligence today. It's clear that Apple will try to add more utility value to your phone in introducing Apple Intelligence. Almost certainly the product will just get better over time. And ultimately, there's over 1 billion devices that need to be refreshed to get to get this technology. That's what we think, at its simplest form, drives the upgrade cycle.
Despite the recent blows all the Magnificent Seven stocks have received due to the geopolitical tensions arousing amidst the American presidential elections, Apple stock is the only one that seems to be rectifying, as the renowned investment bank Morgan Stanley has chosen Apple as a top pick stock for artificial intelligence and even doubled their iPhone sales expectations. So, what prompted the firm to do so, and what's next for Apple's stock? That's what we will discuss in today's video. So please don't miss out. But first, if you want to keep up with Apple's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
So it's not necessary, I guess, by the way you put it out there, that today a preponderance of people feel it's immediately necessary to have this technology, but that it will build in that direction. So that's why it seems like you're fixing the price target, the valuation on fiscal 2026
Correct.
numbers.
Yep, and that's exactly right. So if we think about it, Apple Intelligence will launch sometime later this fall. It's only available in US English. About 30% of the iPhone installed base is in North America. And so there is a cohort that can upgrade this fall that can get Apple Intelligence, but ultimately 70% of the world doesn't have access to it. In countries like China, you'll need a local cloud partner, right? So there's still language broadening that needs to happen, third-party API integration that needs to happen. We think that can progress over the course of the year, such that in fiscal 25, we have Apple doing 235 million shipments, very slightly above consensus, but in fiscal year 26, that becomes the big year, 262 million shipments. I'd also add that we think with the iPhone 17, which would drive fiscal 26 numbers, we think you get a bit of a form factor change. We think you get a slim model. We think that actually becomes an incremental reason to upgrade as well.
Apple shares have drastically risen to a record high during a recent trade session as Morgan Stanley analysts classified the stock as a front-runner in the AI race after the tech giants announced the past month that it has implemented AI features in its upcoming iPhone series. And this decision wasn't the first of its kind, as Apple shares were boosted earlier this month by Bernstein's analysts, who upgraded the stock to outperform and maintained a price target of $203.97. So Apple's recent decision to ride the wave of AI came as a trial to encourage customers to upgrade their devices. Such a move by Apple was considered necessary indeed, as Apple was seen late in the AI race compared to Microsoft and Alphabet. As a result, Morgan Stanley's analysts wrote some very optimistic insights and predictions for the future of Apple stock and sales. All of this combined pushed Apple shares to reach an astounding $236.30 recently, boosting the company's market cap briefly to a staggering $3.62 trillion. And although Apple has pared back some of its gains, the firm still remains as the world's most valuable company, with a market cap of $3.44 trillion and a stock value of $224.31, surpassing Microsoft and Nvidia with a huge interval in between. So, what is Morgan Stanley's stance on Apple? Let's get right into it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy.
Let's turn our attention to some trending tickers that we're watching on this Monday morning. Shares of Apple moving higher this morning following a slew of upgrades citing the potential of its AI software. Joining us now to discuss, we've got Wamsi Mohan, Bank of America IT and hardware analyst, who recently raised his own price target on Apple. Wamsi, it's great to have you on to talk about this. I know you have increased confidence in a multi-year iPhone upgrade cycle, and that's part of what drove your price target increase. Talk to me about where that confidence comes from.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, look, I mean, I think that we ran a survey, which is fairly broad-based, covers 4 major geographic regions. And it's been a long-standing survey. We've been running this since 2018. It's very unusual for Apple to actually talk about future products and releases, right? Like they basically said iPhone 15 Pro and newer would be needed to run some of these Apple Intelligence features. So we thought the survey was going to be somewhat pertinent to see after Worldwide Developer Conference, did people actually change their decision to buy an iPhone in 2024? And we did see a meaningful uptick in the number of people who basically said, yes, we would like to upgrade our phone this year based on the feature functionality that Apple is introducing. So we think that this is going to be a start. We know obviously all the features won't be available to everyone at the same time. So we actually think of this as more of a multi-year cycle. Given that the survey also shows that the install base age is actually quite old. There's still a whole lot of iPhone 11s, 12s, and 13s in the install base. So we actually expect a lot of that install base to come up for refresh at the same time when all these new feature functionalities are starting to hit consumers.
Here came Morgan Stanley's comments, as the investment bank's analysts wrote that the iPhone and iPad are clear catalysts for such significant stock rise. Although artificial intelligence features are only compatible with 8% of the current iPhones in use, and Apple at the moment has 1.3 billion smartphones used by customers, analysts believe that Apple will break sales records in the upcoming years. Morgan Stanley analysts said that Apple will sell 500 million iPhones over the next couple of years, and this is way higher than their earlier expectations for Apple over the next 2 years, as their previous prediction for the firm was to sell between 230 to 235 million iPhones over the course of the next 2 years. So, the current sales expectations are literally more than double. Moreover, the prestigious investment bank has raised its price target to $270 from $216. Notably, Apple stock has risen more than 26% year to date and over 8% in the last month. It has an average rating of buy, with a median price target of $217, having outperformed the S&P 500 index this year, according to LSEG data. So, should investors be rushing to buy Apple shares now? Let's find out. But first, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
The evening of the Worldwide Developers Conference, the stock really wasn't moving that much to the upside, and then you had a slew of kind of commentary surrounding it and the news of day, and that really led to some broader gains for Apple. So I'm curious, from your perspective, where do you get clarity on hype versus actual excitement that's going to convert to sales regarding these iPhone AI features?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Look, I think that when Apple sort of tends to introduce products, they are really ready for the consumer, right? Like, so we don't see them jump the gun, not generally first to market, but at the same time, and we have a slew of already phones from Chinese competitors, from Samsung and others that have some of these AI features. So Apple's not first to the game, generally not, but when they do come, you have a high degree of confidence that whatever product they're coming up with is going to act extremely well. So now, from a perspective of how much of this is hype versus reality, right? I think that when you look at the feature functionality, this is where you can start to think about a step function change in productivity. We all aim for so much productivity in our daily working lives and try to optimize, but really from an iPhone perspective, in our personal lives, we haven't had the opportunity to really capitalize on some of these productivity initiatives, right? And what I'm talking about is just ordering at restaurants or going from place to place via Ubers. A lot of this stuff can actually be automated, but we go and jump across so many different apps to try to get just our daily routines in place. And so what I think is that, this is going to take some time to roll out, and they also introduced at Worldwide Developer Conference very deep integration with Siri. I think this is the part that really was not understood well by the broader community, is how deep this integration can go and what kind of changes that can bring. And I think that once people got comfortable with the fact that look, I mean, Siri is going to be an assistant that you don't want to turn off as you wanted to in the past, but rather one that you would want on that can help you with all your features. I just think that we're entering a new paradigm over here where consumers are really going to see this increased benefit of productivity over time. And I think that that's really key to understanding this upgrade cycle. And as those features roll out in over the next several quarters, more and more developers are going to integrate Siri even more deeply. It could start with Uber, maybe Lyft would follow. Right. You could see OpenTable or others start to integrate. So as you see that, really, that snowballs into sort of this effect of people wanting to upgrade for all the feature functionality.
Despite the skepticism surrounding Apple stock initially this year, the company's strategic announcement of an AI-enabled smartphone has significantly boosted analyst confidence in the stock. Overall, Apple stock has a consensus of moderate buy rating. Of the 30 analysts covering the stock, 20 advise a strong buy, 3 say it's a moderate buy, 6 have a hold rating, and the remaining one recommends a strong sell. This optimistic consensus marks a notable lift from 3 months ago, with the percentage of buy or better ratings increasing from 66% then to 76% now. Industry analysts believe that Apple will continue its leadership of the smartphone industry without slowing down, and that it will lead the global recovery of that business, which got reshaped amidst the artificial intelligence buzz. On top of that, in the past 3 months solely, Apple has sold more than 45.2 million devices, up from the 44.5 million of the past year, even though its market share fell to 15.8% from 16.6% in the same period, according to IDC data. And with the upcoming release of the iPhone 16 series beside their newly implemented AI functions, the firm seems to be on the brink of a new historic era. This is solidly reflected in the analysts' confidence in the stock. According to Bloomberg, Apple is aiming to ship at least 90 million iPhone 16 devices in the latter half of 2024, a 10% increase from the previous year, as the company bets on new artificial intelligence features to drive demand. Therefore, Apple stock seems like a great buy. But what do you think about Apple stock? Is it a buy at the current price? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Apple is. If you would like to know what companies like Apple have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.